I tell people all the time, like, find something that you really do enjoy and it won't feel like work.
On this episode, we will talk with Julia Morales Clark, sports anchor and reporter for AT&T Sportsnet and the Houston Astros sideline reporter. Her love and passion came as early as 10 when she had the opportunity to watch her father interview for the press during his run for the U.S. Senate election in 1996. See, that was only the beginning for her. After obtaining a degree in journalism from the University of Texas and many internships later, she landed her first role, but hey, I'll let her tell it.
I started in Sherman, Texas. I was a weekend sports anchor covering some high school football, and then Tyler, Texas after that. Then I ended up in Austin, Texas. So I got to go back and cover the school that I loved and graduated from and all the Longhorn sports that come with that. So that was a lot of fun. And I dipped my toe into minor league baseball and got to know that sport a lot better because they have the AAA affiliate for the Houston Astros there now in the Round Rock Express. And that's where I fell in love with the game of baseball. I was just really learning how that sport worked, especially at the minor league level. There's just so many things to know about how the game works and how players are and how they get to the big leagues. And then it was, it's funny, you learn as I was covering baseball and learning all this, I realized that being a news reporter, being a sports reporter is a lot like being a minor league baseball player trying to make it to the big leagues. And for me, worked my way up, and then I got the call to be the Astros field reporter in 2013. 7 years in that job, and it's a dream come true. It's a job I didn't even know I could have, and then ended up really falling in love with it, falling in love with Houston, and I've got to do some really cool things with it.
Think back to your first job. What types of things did you have to do? Because I noticed now people that step into journalism, they want, hey, we want you to edit, shoot, write your own content. Was that the same for you when you first started?
It was really a one-man band. That was really a term that local news stations lived by. They believed in it, and you kind of had to. I mean, just the amount of staff that they have, they don't have the budget for it, and they don't have the ability to hire a lot of people to do a lot of different things. And honestly, looking back on why we had to do that and doing that, you realize how much you learn from doing that, and you really have an appreciation for all of those jobs. So when I started at KTEN in Sherman, the NBC affiliate there, I was a weekend sports anchor, but that also meant, that sounded really fancy, right? That's what I did on Saturdays and Sundays, but I also was a sports reporter. And the days that I was anchoring, I was shooting highlights of whether it be a college football game or whatever was going on, basketball tournament, could be a practice of some kind of little league tournament, whatever it may be. I went out and shot it. Maybe it was at 8 a.m. that morning, and my newscast wasn't until 10 o'clock that night. So I mean, your days might be long, but you shot stuff early in the morning. You kind of had to put yourself back together. It could be 100 degrees in these Texas cities in the middle of the summer when you do it. You shoot your stand-ups out there. Maybe you want to put something together for future shows, and so you turn the camera on yourself, do a little stand-up, and then you go back to the office. And then it's just you at the office. It was just me. So you take your video that you just shot, you edit it, you put it into the system, you write your own show, you produce your own show and your own sportscast. And then when time comes, you put on that makeup and you get out there and you perform. It's your show. It's all the work that you put into it. So you take a lot of pride in all of that. And, but in that, I mean, what did we learn? We learned how to shoot, we learned how to edit, we learned how to write and produce, and then, of course, be on camera. And all of those things will help you as you move through, whether it be television or just journalism, and learning all of the jobs that come with it.
Social media. At this point in time, no matter if we're on the field, off the field, just working in business such as myself, we have to have some kind of presence.
Yeah.
Typically.
Yeah.
Jobs ask for it. When we apply for them, it's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But you being in the public eye,
Yeah.
How do you deal with the haters, bad comments on your posts and things of that nature?
Longhorn football is actually the first time that I saw that, because they weren't winning as they once were, and that presented a problem with fans. And that's when I realized, this can actually be a pretty dark place. And why are we so angry? I am not an angry person, and I'm actually far from it. I pride myself in that. I'm pretty positive and stay pretty positive, but that can bring you down real fast. And it has nothing to do with me. It was actually about what I was reporting on. So very quickly I had to learn that it doesn't have anything to do with me. And I need to just keep moving. Like I can read it. Back then I was probably reading them too much, keeping up with it. I was fortunate to not get so many that were personal attacks either in the beginning. So I kind of figured out how to deal with people who weren't coming at me with, such positive tweets or comments that, by the time I got to the Astros and more people were watching, I had more eyes. Then the Astros got good. We actually had our ratings shot through the roof. Then they win the World Series. I mean, people are watching now and they want to know what I'm thinking and they want to know what I'm saying. So I have to be very careful, and I do want to give fans a little bit of that, of, you only hear me so often on the broadcast, so you don't know a lot of what I'm saying. I give you injury reports, I give you some stories, keep you in the know, but you don't know how I feel about a lot of things. That's where social media comes in. So people want to know how I feel, but what are they going to do with it? Are they going to attack it? And so, from early on, I'm really glad I started in 2009, because by the time it got to a point where I had a lot of followers and a lot of people that were giving their opinion, I was to the point where I wasn't even able to read it all. Like I can't even keep up with what's going on, because I'm very active too, which helps. So I avoid a lot of it, to be quite honest.
Since there's 162 games plus postseason, which nowadays the Astros always have a long postseason.
Right.
Yeah, then plus you do some pre and post Rockets games.
Right.
How do you balance family in that?
That is the question, and I'm still figuring it out. Life changes, and my husband's job changes every year. So the crazy part in all this is I decided to do this unique job, this job that was going to keep me on the road. Meanwhile, I was dating and on my way to marry a guy who was playing overseas. He was playing baseball in Japan at the time. Yeah, because that made sense, right? I mean, let's just make it as difficult as we possibly can. We were very long distance. But what I learned over the years in doing my job is that it doesn't matter whether he was home or away. It was going to be long distance because of the amount of time that I'm traveling away from home. We've figured it out up until this point. We've got a good little system down on when we talk and how often we talk. Off seasons, we spend a lot of time together to make up for a lot of date nights. It's a lot to balance. I've figured it out every year, but there's adjustments every year. It's funny, my husband and I, once our seasons end about the same time, we have to get used to each other again. It's just, wait, you're still here. Like, what are you doing still here? I'm not used to him being in the house because he's gone, and now he's playing in Mexico, and he's doing really well, and I'm excited for him. I thought, for the last 4 years now, it's been kind of up in the air of how long he would play and how far would this really go. And every year he surprises me, he surprises himself with just his ability to keep on going. And so I'm definitely not going to get in his way. I think what he's doing is great. I'm supporting him, he's supporting me. Eventually one day we'll have a family, and then we'll have to figure some things out. But for now, we're just trucking along.
Yeah, riding the roller coaster.
Yeah.